Hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
That's it.
It's had like an hour left. So get extra comfortable, kids, because after that, y'all gotta go. It's a wrap for y'all, because this thing turns into something that when y'all get older, y'all don't want to come to. Okay?
Happy 50th. Y'all know y'all gonna have to turn up tonight, right? Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Y'all know how y'all was doing it back in '64.
That's why I don't be going to them puffy parties. They can hug you from the front and the back at the same time.
Celebrities responded to Diddy's arrest, and the reactions from music legends, especially Eminem, will leave you speechless.
Diddy will be in jail for a very long time for the crimes he committed at his infamous parties. But now, with photos and videos being leaked of the big bashes, some celebrities are scared as they could be implicated with his crimes. Now, since Diddy's arrest, various photos and videos have been leaked and have resurfaced, and celebs are panicking over it. Now, starting off, there's Ashton Kutcher. Now, past footage of him at one of Diddy's white parties, having a good time on a swing, has been going around. Also, photos of him and his then-wife Demi Moore have resurfaced. With this, people have looked more into Ashton and Diddy's past friendship, and it's honestly concerning. Ashton was actually really close with Diddy, and he once said, "If you're a single man, there's probably no greater human being in the world to hang out with. This is 20 years ago, 19 years ago. We were having a lot of fun together." Then, concerning footage of Ashton not being able to name an appropriate favorite Diddy party memory surfaced. While appearing on Hot Ones, host Sean Evans asked Ashton for his favorite memory at a Diddy party, but Ashton said, "I've got a lot I can't tell." He laughed and said, "I can't tell that one either." So if he can't tell those stories, how bad were they? But it's said that Ashton himself is worried about what could happen with this whole Diddy situation. An insider source revealed that Ashton absolutely regrets his friendship with Diddy, considering what has happened. He feels lied to, betrayed, taken for granted, and manipulated. Everyone who is close to Diddy fears the possibility of Diddy making up false allegations to clear his own name. Although Kutcher is frightened by the prospect of being involved in the case, he is also prepared to completely cooperate with authorities because he has nothing to hide. Now, in the past, Diddy once named Leo as the #1 person on his white party invitation list, which raises some eyebrows. I mean, you don't just say that. Now, people have been looking at Leo strange, but a source close to Leo says that he's not been in contact with Diddy for years, saying he never attended freak-offs and has nothing to do with the case. Now, the pair were last seen together in 2019 when Leo attended Diddy's 50th birthday party. But a source went on to say, Leonardo DiCaprio has absolutely nothing to do with any of this. He attended a few of his parties back in the early 2000s, but literally everyone did. They were not freak-offs, they were big house parties. Leo was at the start of his career at the time and has moved way past his partying. He has nothing to do with any of that world, so for anyone to assume that he will get roped into this based on a few grainy photos that are more than 20 years old is ridiculous. Then, of course, there's the Kardashians. Kim and Khloe Kardashian have been spotted at multiple Diddy parties, and in recent years, the whole Kar-Jenner family have been spotted with Diddy. They posted about it on social media, talked about him on their reality shows, and Khloe even had Diddy on as a guest on her show Cocktails with Khloe. Now, they have a real deep friendship, but fans noticed that Kim unfollowed Diddy since the raid on his houses. Khloe, though, still has an Instagram photo up of her, Diddy, and her sisters together, and captioned the post, "No party like a Diddy party." Yeah. Then there's the fact that Kris Jenner is dating Corey Gamble, who was good friends with Diddy. An insider said that Corey was aware of Diddy's controversial engagements, and a lot of people believe that Corey must have had some knowledge of what was going on. Now, an insider also noted, though, that he totally denies these allegations. However, it's been said that Kris has already started to plan her family's rescue in case things get dirty for her daughters. It's all very ugly and very embarrassing, and Kris is scrambling to distance them all from this and distract everyone, but that's going to be impossible if they get called to testify. Now, another source said all these years that they bragged about partying with Diddy have of course got everyone assuming that they were somehow involved in these deprived freak-offs. They then asserted that the family had no idea of the sorts of twisted things he was up to after hours. Now, talking to In Touch magazine, the insider continued, Diddy had plenty of glamorous parties over the years that weren't freak-offs, at least not until the early morning hours when the majority of people had left. Now, the insider suggests that Kris is presently scrambling to distance them from all of this, and I can't blame her. Then there's the VHS tape that was recently leaked. Now, a source sent page 6 of VHS tape that was sent out as an invitation to Diddy's 29th birthday in 1998. It begins with a strange home video style skit in which Danny DeVito, lying on a sofa under a blanket, says, "That's right, Puff Daddy is having a party, and this is Puff Daddy inviting you to come. Let's have a ball." Then a group of celebs take turns reading from a script detailing the date and time, exactly how fabulous and expensive the party will be, and then reading an address to RSVP to. They then said that the venue would be revealed later. Now, this group of celebrities includes Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres, Chris Rock, Mariah Carey, Will Smith, and Joan Rivers, to name a few. It's also been said that the whole video is 6 minutes long, but just over a minute of it was posted. Now, what happens in the other 5 minutes of it? No one really knows. People who have seen this, though, claim that the celebs involved in the tape should be looked at as potential accomplices in Diddy's case, as they appear to be good friends with him and have close ties. And hey, I gotta say, I agree with this. I mean, everyone should be looked into, as the crimes Diddy is being accused of are absolutely disgusting, and he clearly was not alone committing them. Now, Ray J, who is friends with Diddy, has spoken out about how some celebrities are paying off their victims when it comes to the freak-offs. Ray J said, "I'm hearing about artists paying victims to keep their names out of it." Now, Tony Busby, the attorney representing more than 120 alleged victims, disclosed that he has sent out demand letters to the celebrities, asking them to pay up or face the consequences. Now, Tony had previously mentioned that investigations into Diddy's case had implicated several Hollywood big shots. He has disclosed that he's now going after other celebrities, though, who attended Diddy's freak-offs, even if they did nothing wrong. In a new appearance on TMZ's documentary, The Downfall of Diddy, Inside the Freak-Offs, Tony claims such big names are as guilty as those who perpetrated the crimes, explaining that their silence and unwillingness to stand against it makes them liable. Now, I wonder if any of the celebrities we mentioned before were sent these letters. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And I mean, in a September 17th letter to a judge arguing for Diddy to be jailed until he is brought to trial, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams claimed that his office has the testimony of dozens of witnesses and victims to his serial mistreatment and evidence from dozens of his own electronic devices and those of his co-conspirators. Investigators have taken in more than 90 cell phones, laptops, cloud storage accounts, as well as at least 30 storage devices. They issued more than 300 grand jury subpoenas to obtain this evidence from communication providers, tech and social media companies, financial institutions, and Diddy's companies. Prosecutors allegedly have dozens of videos depicting Diddy's so-called freak-offs that corroborate witness testimony. So who knows really how many people were involved in all of this. Oprah Winfrey has been spotted in a video from 1998 inviting Hollywood stars to one of Diddy's infamous parties. Now, she appears in the video clip inviting guests to the star-studded bash, Diddy's 29th birthday, and she is joined by other well-known celebrities gushing over the star and his multi-million parties. Now, this is not a good look for Oprah. Now, Oprah has had many controversies throughout her life, but being involved with Diddy might be the final nail in the coffin when it comes to her career. She and Diddy have appeared together at numerous charity events, and Oprah has featured Diddy on her show, where they discuss not only his career, but also his charitable efforts. Now, this appearance helped elevate Diddy's message about social responsibility and community engagement, which is kinda ironic if you think back to it now. Now, this isn't the first time Oprah has been linked to some horrible men in the entertainment industry that have ended up behind bars. I mean, it's starting starting to become a pattern. When she was asked about this, she said she tried to focus less on the crimes and the victims' stories and instead inside the bigger picture, which a lot of people had issues with. Her former friend Seal took to Instagram to call her out for her suspicious behavior. "You have been a part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you're the solution," Seal said. "Oh, I forgot, that's right, you heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually doing those things to young starry-eyed actresses. My bad," he said. Yikes. Now it seems like Oprah definitely knew what was going on. What's strange is that Oprah has actually been a victim to the crimes Diddy has been accused of. You see, Oprah was born in Mississippi to a single teenage mother and grew up in extreme poverty. During her childhood, the cost of raising Oprah became too much for her mother to handle, so she was sent to live with her biological father. Since then, Oprah has come forward talking about how she had been mistreated and taken advantage of by her cousin, uncle, and a family friend. As a young teenager, and after suffering for years, she then ran away from home, and a year later she became pregnant. Now, she gave birth to a son, but he was premature and passed away only a few weeks later. Now, Oprah has used this story to show her strength and to inspire people, but it seems like she might have helped continue this cycle towards young girls. I mean, we have to talk about the whole sketchy situation about her all-girls school that she created. When the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls opened in Johannesburg in 2007, Nelson Mandela, Tina Turner, Sidney Poitier, Spike Lee, and Oprah herself attended the ribbon-cutting ceremony celebrating the landmark boarding school founded with $40 million of Oprah's money. But less than a year later, 6 of the 152 students who had been personally selected by Oprah to attend the institution came forward to accuse dorm matron Virginia Tiny McGobo of mistreating them. She was then arrested in November 2007 and released on bail, and she faced 14 different charges. "It has shaken me to my core," Oprah said, of the returning to South Africa with a team of private detectives to investigate the allegations and personally speak with the girls. "This has been one of the most devastating, if not the most devastating, experiences of my life." Now, it seems like she and the organization did not look into who they were hiring and how the operation was running. I mean, this whole thing could have been avoided. Now, following the first trial, Oprah was sued by the headmistress of the South African girls' school for defamation. She alleged that Oprah defamed her by implying that she covered up the mistreatment going on at the school. However, this case was later settled outside of court before an arranged trial, according to CNN. Now, that's not all that happened here though, as speculation of numerous missing girls from the academy have spread like wildfire across social media. Now, could Oprah have been taking the girls? That's definitely a possibility. Not to mention, parents also came forward with complaints about the school. In March 2007, some parents complained because they were only allowed to visit their children once a month, and the girls were only allowed to use their cell phones on weekends. One parent said, "It was a nightmare. We had only 2 hours to see my child. Surely this isn't a prison or an institution." Another mother said her homesick daughter was very upset over the rules. "Michelle phones me in tears sometimes, and then I don't know what to say to her." Shockingly, the school is still up and running, which is crazy considering all the scandals that have happened there. Then there's her canceled documentary. Oprah apparently spent a fortune to make sure the docuseries created about her never sees the light of day after clashing with Oscar-winning filmmaker and director Kevin McDonald over the project. As the Apple TV Plus deal was coming to an end, Miss Winfrey bought back the rights to her docuseries and has since decided to put the doc on hold, a spokesperson for Oprah told Page 6. In addition, another source said Kevin made the film, but Oprah didn't like it and he refused to change it, and Oprah has paid back her fee to Apple. Internet users reacted to the news that the documentary was putting on hold, and they were not impressed. Many questioned if Oprah was worried that some damaging information was set to become public. "Well, now isn't this sketchy?" one person wrote in Page 6's comment section. Another individual asked, "What is she afraid of or hiding?" Similar takes showed up on Twitter, as one person wrote, "What is Oprah hiding?" while another tweeted, "Oprah Winfrey shelled out a fortune to prevent a documentary release. Sounds legit, money talks, right? Not the truth." Yeah, I gotta say that this is pretty sketchy sounding. Then we know she's mistreated people in the past, whether it be celebrities, guests on her shows, house or even her own stepmother. Yep, it was reported that she was accused of being heartless to her own stepmother after she was kicked out of the 5-bedroom South Nashville home she shared with Oprah's father for 14 years. Barbara Winfrey told Daily Mail that her life had been deliberately ruined by the talk show legend following a bitter divorce with Vernon Winfrey. Oprah's a billionaire 3 times over, her help to live better than this, Barbara pointed out, adding she said publicly that she offered to sell the house and give me the proceeds, but that's a lie. She never said that. Oprah owns property all over the world, so there's no reason to sell this house other than to spite me. It's a personal vendetta, she said. Now, legal papers claim that Oprah was involved in a conspiracy to separate her father and stepmother and essentially make the latter homeless. What she has done is nothing short of evil, but she doesn't scare me. Her actions cause me to disrespect her, Barbara said. Now, it seems like Oprah is always at the scene of the crime, and online users have been convinced about her downfall for years. One online user posted this on Reddit, and I honestly have to agree with it. They said, Oprah Winfrey is not a hero, nor should she be considered a role model. Successful? Sure. A good role model? Not really. She's nice, and she's certainly not an awful person, but she also consistently promotes individuals on her show who peddle pseudoscientific nonsense to a massive crowd of guests and television viewers, Dr. Oz being one of the most famous examples. The willingness to promote this type of content either means that the Oprah Winfrey Network is unwilling to do background research into these guests and their claims, or that they will promote whatever gets them the highest view count, making it rather low value and possibly harmful to pretty much anyone who watches the show. Why would anyone look up to someone who endorses science? Anyone who does even basic research into some of the so-called professionals that come on the show would realize they're spewing absolute nonsense. I don't know if this is unpopular or not, but I feel like a lot of people look up to her and think of her as both a pioneer and a good person. I don't see it. Lazy, unhinged, and disconnected from reality, or lazy and opportunistic. That's how I see her and her show. Now, other people responded to this post in agreement, saying, I noticed this about Oprah 20 years ago. Once you see her, you can't unsee her. She seems shallow, egotistical, self-absorbed, and all the rest of it. Another said, it wasn't until I was older and seen exactly what her show was about in the 80s and early 90s, and seen she capitalized off making a mockery of her trauma. No longer a role model, just another rich person who snubs their noses at anyone who's gone through life as she has. Makes me sick, actually. While a third person said that she was just straight up evil. So, does Oprah have anything to do with Diddy's crime ring? I honestly wouldn't put it past her. I guess we'll just have to wait for more details to come out to see if she was involved. Diddy is in trouble with the law, but it seems like all these other celebrities are too, like Prince Harry, Usher, and Leonardo DiCaprio. A lot of celebrities were named in lawsuits against Diddy, and one of those people just so happened to be Prince Harry. Yup, you heard that right. A member of the royal family has ties with Diddy. Now, Diddy is said to have drawn guests to his infamous parties through his VIP associations with celebrities such as famous athletes, political figures, artists, musicians, and international dignitaries like British royal Prince Harry, according to the legal notice. Now, there's no suggestion of any wrongdoing by the prince, and his name is only mentioned once in the documents as an example of a well-known celebrity associate of Diddy. Now, both Harry and his brother Prince William were pictured with Diddy and Kanye West in 2007 after the musicians performed in the Concert for Diana at Wembley Stadium. Now, Harry hasn't been accused of anything, but just being associated with Diddy is a huge red flag. While there are anonymous or redacted celebrities named in one of the suits, it's not too difficult to figure out who they are. While Chris Brown isn't named specifically in the court documents, he's referenced as one of 2 redacted figures, redacted R&B singer, who was specifically alleged to have been in Mr. Combs' Los Angeles home consorting with girls and adult workers. Another clue that points to it being Chris is the footnote at the bottom of that same page, which reads, Grammy Award-winning R&B singer who had trouble with law enforcement after mistreating a Bajan billionaire. Then, like Chris, while Meek Mill wasn't named specifically in court documents, he's referenced as one of 2 redacted, redacted rapper figures who was specifically and allegedly in Mr. Combs' Los Angeles home consorting with girls and adult workers. Now, another clue that points to it being Meek Mill's is the footnote at the bottom of that same page, which reads, "He is a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj." Now, to be honest, is anyone really shocked that Chris Brown is connected to this? I mean, after what he's done to Rihanna and other women, it makes a lot of sense. Now, I just hope that these new victims get the justice they deserve and he's put behind bars like he should have been many years ago. Now, producer Rodney Jones filed a lawsuit against Diddy at the beginning of 2024 for mistreating him, taking advantage of him, and making him a witness to multiple crimes. Now, Diddy wasn't the only person named though. An amended complaint filed in March in the U.S. District Court of the Southern District of New York by Rodney listed Cuba Gooding Jr. as a defendant. Rodney accuses Cuba of harassment and being taken advantage of. Specifically, Rodney accuses Diddy of manipulating him to pass him off to Cuba. Now, the two were left alone in a makeshift studio on a yacht rented by Diddy, according to the complaint. There, Cuba became inappropriate, and this isn't the first time he's been charged for acting this way, so it makes me inclined to believe that Rodney is telling the truth. The CEO of Universal Music Group and the father-in-law to Sophia Richie, Lucian Grange, is also listed as a defendant in Rodney's amended complaint. He is accused of aiding and abetting Diddy. Rodney says that as CEO, Lucian had a duty to ensure that the financial support they provided to Diddy and Love Records was not being used for adult workers, substances, and alcohol. Now, attorneys for Lucian have filed a motion to dismiss, in which they call the accusations offensively false. In a sworn statement to the court, he called the accusations completely untrue and absurd, and said that he plans to pursue both plaintiffs and his counsel for having made such false accusations. Now, he also pointed out that he is the CEO of a multinational public company and is not involved in the day-to-day operations of the company's thousands of agreements. And Justin Dior Combs, Diddy's 30-year-old son, has been linked to helping his father commit crimes. Justin has been accused of soliciting adult workers as well as engaging in freak-offs. It's also been said that Justin and Diddy were the only two people present in the room when a man named G was injured at a recording studio, so this implies that one of them hurt G. Now, Justin was at Diddy's Los Angeles home when it was raided by feds, and he was seen handcuffed on the lawn outside, though he was not arrested. Justin's lawyer said that the complaint was utterly bonkers on his radio show Beyond the Legal Limit. It's clearly written in an effort to get as much publicity as possible, not only for the case but for the lawyer whose name I don't even remember, literally some maniac, he said. Now, Misa Hilton, the mother of Justin and an ex-girlfriend of Diddy, spoke out against the raid. She posted on social media, "The overzealous and overtly militarized force used against my sons Justin and Christian is deplorable," she wrote. "If these were the sons of a non-black celebrity, they would not have been handled with the same aggression. The attempt to humiliate and terrorize these innocent young black men is despicable. Enough is enough." She then said her son's attorney is investigating to determine if the force used by law enforcement was excessive. "We will fight for justice utilizing every imaginable source. I'm not okay with the propaganda," she wrote online. Now, in a statement released a day after the raids, a lawyer representing Diddy called the raids a gross overuse of military-level force, adding that there was no excuse for the hostility exhibited by authorities or the way his children and employees were treated. But yeah, it seems like Justin was involved with a lot of the stuff his father did, and I'm sure he'll be joining him in prison soon. Then there's Usher. Usher has known Diddy for a long time, as in the early 90s when he was a young star, he was sent to live with the already established Diddy in New York City at his Puffy Flavor Camp, where he was expected to learn the ropes of the industry. During their time together, Diddy served as Usher's mentor, and Diddy taught him a lot alright, like how to party. Usher has never spoken negatively about Diddy and has even joked about his time living with Diddy in interviews, implying that he was exposed to an adult lifestyle well beyond his years. While the singer has been frank about his experiences, sharing that he went there to see the lifestyle and saw it, he has never expanded further on Diddy's parties. In an interview with Howard Stern, Usher revealed that living with Diddy was pretty wild. He went on to say, "There were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand." Then when Stern asked him if he would send his kids to Diddy's camp, Usher's response was a resounding hell no. But But after Diddy was arrested, it appeared that Usher deleted all of his tweets and his Twitter account altogether. Later though, he made a post saying he was hacked, but the timing was just extremely suspicious. And Leonardo DiCaprio is someone else who's been linked to Diddy. There's photos of Leo in attendance at his parties, and in the past, Diddy once named Leo as the #1 person on his white party invitation list, which raises some eyebrows. I mean, you just don't say that about anybody. Now, people have been looking at Leo strange, but a source close to him says he has not been in contact with Diddy for years, saying he never attended freak-offs and has nothing to do with the case. Now, the pair were last seen together in 2019 when Leo attended Diddy's 50th birthday party. The source went on to say Leonardo DiCaprio has absolutely nothing to do with any of this. He attended a few of his parties back in the early 2000s, but literally everyone did. They were not freak-offs, they were big house parties. Leo was at the start of his career at the time and has moved way past his partying. He has nothing to do with any of that world, so for anyone to assume that he'll get roped into this based on a few grainy photos that are more than 20 years old is ridiculous. I don't know though, it's a little suspicious considering Leo was one of the #1 people on Diddy's list to invite. It's just straight up fishy. We've been finding out more and more information about Diddy recently, and somehow Britney Spears has been involved in all of this. Yep, you heard that right, so let's look into her involvement. TriStar Sports and Entertainment Group is the celebrity management firm that previously came under fire for its alleged involvement in Britney Spears' conservatorship battle. Turns out though, they also have a connection to Diddy. The company's founder, president, and CEO is none other than Britney's former business manager, Lou M. Taylor, who she accused of playing a key role in the conservatorship's implementation in 2008. Now, we know that sketchy things were happening with Britney, so who knows what horrible things this group has done in connection to Diddy. Now, Lou actually managed Diddy too, as she confirmed it in 2019. Britney has also previously called out TriStar Services director Robin Greenhill, who was recently mentioned in a civil lawsuit against Diddy by producer Rodney Little Rod Jones. In 2021, it was revealed that Greenhill was in control of Britney's credit cards, medications, and that TriStar had allegedly used Britney's own money to hire a security team to surveil her during her conservatorship, which is honestly just crazy. Now, Britney even spoke out about Greenhill in her memoir, labeling her a weird blank lackey, and accused the pair, along with her own father, Jamie Spears, of bullying her. Now, it is also previously reported by the Los Angeles Times that Britney's legal team was investigating the alleged $18 million that TriStar obtained from her estate over the span of the conservatorship, which was terminated by a judge in November 2021 after 13 years. TriStar, Taylor, and Greenhill have all denied the allegations and have insisted that Britney's conservatorship was put forth by recommendation of legal counsel, not TriStar, and approved by the court for more than 12 years. Now, they mistreated Britney so poorly, and it appears that they helped Diddy cause harms to others. Now, Greenhill's name was back in the press this year after Rodney Little Rod Jones filed a $30 million lawsuit against Diddy, claiming that he mistreated and took advantage of him. Now, Rodney also claimed that Diddy made him a witness to multiple crimes against his own will as well. Now, how does this relate to Britney? Well, she accused the company and its founder, her former manager, Lou Taylor, of helping create and benefiting from the conservatorship agreement put in place by her father, Jamie Spears, in 2008, which she described as traumatizing in her court statements. Now, Britney claimed that TriStar had received $18 million in the conservatorship arrangement, even though Britney didn't have access to her own earnings. Now, the New York Times reported that Greenhill had been an important agent in the company's interest in the conservatorship by controlling her credit cards and medications well beyond what one would expect a pop star's management company to do. Now, a lot of the company's inner workings for how it manages its accounts are kept under lock and key, the paper reported, with 2 former employees saying they weren't allowed to access basic information like income statements or balance sheets. TriStar first tried to deny it helped originate Britney's conservatorship, which her attorney challenged by presenting the court with an email that showed its reps discussing the arrangement at its origination. The New York Times documentary about Britney's case included allegations that TriStar and Greenhill specifically had operated an elaborate surveillance apparatus to spy on the pop star. But how did this all start? Well, everyone knows about Britney's meltdowns in 2006 and 2007. Now later, at the beginning of 2008, she was put on a 51-50 hold in the hospital. A week after this, she was sent back to the hospital on a 51-50 hold again, and her father Jamie was granted temporary conservatorship over the star. Now soon after the conservatorship was in place, she said her father said, "I just want to let you know, I call the shots. You sit there in that chair and I'll tell you what goes on," she recalled. "I looked at him with a growing sense of horror. I'm Britney Spears now," he said. Now Britney also spoke out about the 13-year conservatorship, and she hit out at her dad Jamie in the explosive memoir as she opened up about the unrelenting control her family had over her, which looking back makes her feel sick. Now people in Hollywood knew that this was happening but didn't do anything. Finally, in 2019, fans started to realize that something was wrong, and they created the Free Britney movement. Now with fans backing Britney up, she felt like she finally had a voice and requested the conservatorship to end. Now she and her father appeared in court multiple times over the year, and on November 12, 2021, the conservatorship was finally over. Now, it seems like TriStar and its employees are always getting in trouble and should honestly be investigated. While Britney is free now, some people don't think she got the justice she deserved. Now that TriStar is intertwined with Diddy, maybe the company and its employees will now be held accountable. Now Diddy, though, for his part, claims that he's innocent. Now Diddy is currently awaiting trial at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. He's proposed different bail packages, but they've all been denied. Defense lawyer Alexandra Shapiro asked them to release Diddy on a $50 million bond, which would be backed by his $48 million Miami home and co-signed by several of his family members. Now she also proposed that Diddy be monitored around the clock by security personnel, be subjected to at-home detention, and have no contact with alleged victims or witnesses. One of the judges who denied this package, Judge Robin Tarnofsky, sided with U.S. Attorney's argument that Diddy posed a risk if he were to be released for home detention. She said, "I don't believe that counsel has the ability to control you, given the very significant concerns I have, particularly because of substance use and what seems like anger issues. The danger, I think, is quite serious," she added of Diddy's release, deciding that the bond package his team offered would not assure his return to court or the safety of the community or lack of witness tampering. In a September 17th letter to the judge arguing for Diddy to be jailed until he was brought to trial, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams claimed that his office has the testimony of dozens of witnesses and victims to his serial mistreatment and evidence from dozens of his own electronic devices and those of his co-conspirators. Investigators have taken in more than 90 cell phones, laptops, cloud storage accounts, as well as at least 30 storage devices. They issued more than 300 grand jury subpoenas to obtain this evidence from communication providers, tech and social media companies, financial institutions, and Diddy's companies. Prosecutors allegedly have dozens of videos depicting Diddy's so-called freak-offs that corroborate witness testimony. So it's safe to say that there's plenty of evidence that will keep Diddy in jail.
Puff Daddy is currently facing some serious allegations that have tarnished the reputation he built for himself in the music industry and beyond. Once a close-knit circle of celebrity friends seems to be distancing themselves in the wake of these serious allegations. Well, there's a leaked VHS tape allegedly sent as an invitation to Puffy's 29th birthday back in 1998 that has further raised a number of eyebrows. So known for his love of partying, Puff Daddy has never shied away from going out and about while hosting such events, although some of his current legal troubles reportedly stem from similar gatherings. But I digress. So the nearly 6-minute long video serves both as a time capsule from the peak of the bad boy era and as a reminder of how far Puff Daddy, who even skipped this year's Grammy Awards and is now kind of, at action, has slipped socially amid the investigation. So the tape, which arrived in the hands of the most powerful and glamorous players in LA and New York in a black velvet pouch with the birthday gala, November 4th, 1998 written on it in white script, features, wait for it folks, Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres, Chris Rock, Mariah Carey, Magic Johnson, Will Smith, Ben Stiller, Joan Rivers, Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Tommy Hilfiger, Clive Davis, Ronald Perlman, Penny Marshall, Stephen Baldwin, and so many more. And they're all taking turns to hype the bash, encouraging the recipients to RSVP and to goof off for the camera. It all begins with a strange home video style skit in which Danny DeVito, lying on a sofa under a blanket, is like, "That's right, Puff Daddy's having a party, and this is Puff Daddy inviting you to come. Let's have a ball." And then the cavalcade of A-listers take turns reading from a script detailing the date and time, exactly how fabulous and expensive the affair will be, and then reading an address to RSVP to. Apparently the venue, which turned out to be Cipriani Wall Street, would be revealed later. One person refers to the "I'll Be Missing You" rapper as the legendary Puff Daddy. Some folks, including Ellen DeGeneres, tease him for his many monikers. Some other folks make fun of their own unease with hip-hop slang. One reliable source who attended the bash said, "I've forgotten how much was made of the party in the press. I think bigger celebs and moguls were fascinated by the chutzpah of this 29-year-old. The Daily News reported that at the time the bash cost $600,000 and 1,600 people were on that list. The Observer compared it to Truman Capote's black and white ball at the Plaza, writing that while Truman's party was more for that creme de la creme of society, Puff Daddy was celebrating the kind of high-profile commercial success and notoriety that knows no bounds. So for decades, these parties were the place to be. Puff Daddy had all sorts of them. He had his annual Hamptons White Party. We had a number of blow-up birthday bashes like the one I just mentioned. There were these lavish champagne and caviar-filled soirees, and these were attended by the likes of Jay-Z, Beyonce, J-Lo, Leonardo DiCaprio, and so many more. There was chatter. Leonardo DiCaprio did step back after a snap from one of the infamous parties came to light, and a friend of his mentioned, look, he just went to a party, it wasn't that big of a deal, they weren't super close, but look, back when Leonardo showed up at Puff Daddy's white party, the music star had tagged Leonardo as the #1 person he wanted at the bash. But apparently a source close to the situation is no, Leo had no connection with Puff Daddy ever since that party in 1998. The insider made it clear that the actor was not involved in the freak-offs. Well, a source shares that they were known to be wild. Anything went to those parties. And ever since all those legal things have been coming into light this year, there's been a lot of speculation about what goes on there. There's been talks of rooms just for getting it on. There's been rampant substance use. There's been these all-night getting it on situations. Apparently, and these freak-offs were mentioned in the 14-page indictment, victims were, given substances against their will, forced to participate in extended performances that could last days at a time with professional workers. These things took place at hotels. Now, we gotta remember that Puff Daddy did plead not guilty to the charges and has denied all claims of SA. How much or how little did his A-list guests actually see at these crazy parties? Well, a couple of celebs have not been tight-lipped. In a 2014 episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Khloe Kardashian recalled hitting up a Puff Daddy bash in Las Vegas, and she's like, "Yeah, this party, I think half the people were in the nude." And when asked about what went down when somebody else attended, Ashton Kutcher was like, "I got a lot I can't say." And he said that verbatim in 2019 on Hot Ones. He's like, "Yeah, going through my little Rolodex of stories, can't tell that one either." In 2016, Howard Stern asked Usher, who lived with Puff Daddy for a year when he was, getting a start in the industry. And Howard Stern was like, "Hey, would you let anybody in your family go to one of those parties?" Usher was like, "Nope." So obviously following all of this, a lot of folks are like, okay, we were maybe at the parties, but we didn't see anything. 50 Cent has been very, very vocal for a very long time, being like, "Nope, I didn't go to those parties. It's an uncomfortable energy," which in retrospect, probably a very smart man. Puff Daddy's friend Ray J was like, "I've never seen anything that's been said there. I've never been in rooms that people are talking about. I don't think they existed." A lot of people in the industry can agree with me on that sense. Now look, apparently all the unsavory behavior took place at the after parties, What happened before 2 a.m. pales into comparison to what happened at like 5 a.m. There was a source who wrangled guests for these parties, and yeah, the high-profile celebs would apparently leave around 2 to 3 a.m., and that's when the party took a turn for the naughty. Folks would lose their clothes, which was apparently the signal for people to leave. That's when fun things would come out, and that's when it would turn into like a bender. During an intimate discussion with Oprah, peeling away the layers of his complex life, Puff Daddy evoked curiosity by avoiding details about the origin of the Puff Daddy moniker. So this conversation was part of an interview for O Magazine, and Oprah was just casually asking. She's like, what's going on here? And Puffy was like, look, it's a nickname somebody gave me. And obviously Oprah, being an interviewer, she was like, okay, but we're gonna prod here. And then Puff Daddy was like, look, I've never told anyone that. I know you get people to tell you everything, Oprah, but I can't look you in the eye and explain that one. He's like, no, we're gonna have a name change ceremony. I'm rocking with, a new moniker now. My man Biggie gave me that. So who else was at these parties? Mariah Carey, Paris Hilton were spotted enjoying the lavish and extravagant atmosphere. Going back to Usher, once again, so he was mentored by Puff Daddy. He was at a lot of these parties. He's mentioned a lot of the wild things, and he once, kind of handed over Bieber. Other high-profile guests included music icon Diana Ross, Hollywood actor Owen Wilson, but we're gonna go back to Ashton Kutcher for a moment. Because even though he said, I can't talk about anything, and oh, I never did anything, their friendship goes way back. In the mid-2000s, they were so close that they were like, oh, we're the new Rat Pack, us and Jamie Foxx. So when Ashton said like, hey, I can't talk about a lot of this, what can't you talk about? Because the Daily Mail is like, hey, we think you might be expecting a subpoena soon about what you do know. And sure, yeah, Puffy has said, nothing's happening. But if Ashton Kutcher is worried about potential betrayal, what would he be betrayed about?
Oprah Winfrey has been connected to Diddy multiple times in the press recently, from being friends, going to parties together, and even being on her talk show together. Now recently, new footage was leaked from Diddy's parties, including Oprah in them. So what's going on? Well, a source sent Page 6 a VHS tape that was sent out as an invitation to the mogul's 29th birthday party in 1998. It's a combination of celebrities inviting you to Diddy's birthday party. Starting off the video though is Oprah, which stands out a lot. Other celebrities seen in the tape include Ellen DeGeneres, Chris Rock, Mariah Carey, Magic Johnson, Will Smith, Ben Stiller, Joan Rivers, Steven Tyler, and Tommy Hilfiger. Now it begins with a strange home video style skit in which Danny DeVito's lying on a sofa under a blanket and says, "That's right, Puff Daddy is having a party, and this is Puff Daddy inviting you to come. Let's have a ball." Then the group of celebs take turns reading from a script detailing the date and time, exactly how fabulous and expensive the party will be, and then reading an address to RSVP to. They then say that the venue would be revealed later. Now that many people have seen this, they think the celebrities in the video were involved in Diddy's crime ring. They're all consulting their lawyers, one TikTok user said, and another wrote, "This is a whole videoed list of participants and accomplices." Yeah, it just doesn't look good for Oprah. Now, due to this being leaked, there have been claims that Oprah has fled the country. People have also said that the result of the presidential election has also affected Oprah's decision to leave the limelight. Kamala Harris had a lot of celebrities promote her and go to her rallies, and one celebrity who endorsed her was Oprah. But the Washington Examiner had reported that Oprah's media company, Harbo Productions, had received a fee from Harris's campaign for a star-studded live interview in September. Now the price tag, it was said that it was $1 million. Now this is just crazy and it has people upset at the Star. Why? Well, Harris's campaign sent out a bunch of messages to civilians asking for donations for the campaign, and fans are not happy that some of their money went to Oprah, who has a net worth of $3 billion. Yes, billion with a B. Now, you'd think Oprah would make an appearance out of the goodness of her heart, but oh no. One person on Twitter said, "Just embarrassing that anyone thought that Lady Gaga or Oprah were going to swing enough votes to justify justify this is insane. Someone else said all of this is so slimy and disgusting, at Oprah is so utterly repugnant. A third said those performers should be ashamed of themselves, this is Trump-level grifting, and is just one of many reasons you'll never see me donate a penny to a politician. Now Oprah though has spoken out against this, saying, "Not true, I was paid nothing ever." Now, with this new information revealed, reports from the New York Times, citing two informed sources, revealed that Harbo Productions received nearly $2.5 million, rather than the previously estimated $1 million for the September town hall featuring Harris. It was then said that Oprah donated $150 million to the campaign, but that was false too. Nicole Nichols, a spokesperson for Oprah, told USA Today the show host had not donated to Harris's campaign. No donations to Harris from Oprah or her company Harbo Incorporated are listed on the Federal Election Commission website, a nonpartisan research group that tracks US political spending. Now, it's just a mess for Oprah right now, and this isn't the first controversy she's faced in recent years. This year, she's been called out for how she's spoken about losing weight and how she actually lost weight. Now, all throughout Oprah's career, she's been made fun of for her weight, and she ended up partnering with Weight Watchers, a weight loss plan company. Now, recently, Oprah lost a lot of weight, and she attributed it to Weight Watchers, but it was then revealed that she was lying. She finally revealed that she was using an unnamed weight loss medication, and that's how she was able to lose a lot of weight. So it wasn't the program that she had been promoting for all these years, which made a lot of people feel lied to. Now, a lot of people even claim that Oprah cheated with her weight loss. Then in 2024, Oprah decided to step down and stop working with Weight Watchers altogether. Many people are saying that she's a sellout and that everything she's ever stood for was a lie. While she did not specify the medication she's been taking, it's very likely that she's taking Ozempic or something Ozempic adjacent, which is all the craze with celebrities right now who are trying to lose weight. In 1988, she showed off her new slim figure by taking off an oversized coat and wheeling out a wagon holding 67 pounds of animal fat, the amount she had lost in less than 5 months. Now, this episode grew huge attention, earning the highest ratings in the show's history. However, years later, Oprah expressed regret about it, stating that it was simply an ego trip and admitting that she eventually regained all the weight. Now, Oprah is still receiving pushback from her Maui fund Now, Oprah is also still receiving pushback from her Maui fund she created with The Rock after a bunch of wildfires hit Hawaii in August 2023. It caused a lot of devastation in the community, so Oprah and The Rock created a foundation where money would go right into the pockets of those who were affected. It was a good idea for sure, but the problem people had with it was that the two celebrities only donated $10 million, and then they posted online asking everyday people for help. Now, this made people angry for a couple of reasons, but the main one was the fact that Oprah did not donate that much. As mentioned before, Oprah is worth $3 billion. I mean, she could have given every resident $100,000 and barely see a dent in her bank account. Oprah has always been about giving back to the community, but to some people, it felt like she wasn't helping as much as she could. Then there was the fact that she was asking everyday people for donations when a lot of people are already going through financial struggles these days. Many people question why she wasn't asking her other wealthy celebrity friends to help, and I think these are all valid complaints, but Oprah ended up actually just making it worse for herself. All the online conversations, being slammed, lies, conspiracy theories really took the focus off what was the most important thing, and that was the people of Maui. Oprah and The Rock then thought about how they'd been giving to charity their whole lives and felt like starting with $10 million worked because it was enough to kick things off before opening the Maui Wildfires Fund up to people who wanted to help but didn't know how. Oprah said, "I was so excited about it. Then I got up the next morning and I saw all this vitriol and I was like, whoa, what happened here?" Yeah, now that honestly was not a good response at all. So with all this hate against Oprah, will she really leave Hollywood and the United States? I mean, she has the funds to do so, so what's to stop her? From her Diddy controversy to her lying to fans and being greedy, could this be the end? I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Denzel Washington, Usher, Damon Dash, just a couple of the names that have warned all of us about Hollywood parties over the years. Denzel Washington had fighting words escorts for Puffy at one of the disgraced rapper's parties back in the early 2000s. The Oscar-winning actor screamed at Puff Daddy before he stormed out of an all-night party that the music mogul hosted in 2003, at least according to a trusted anonymous source. So allegedly this insider was somebody who was super friendly with Puffy in the early 2000s, and Denzel screamed, "You don't respect anybody." So Denzel and his wife Pauletta had been partying until dawn with Puffy, and they had seen something and then they stormed out. I want to know what they saw and why was it so bad that they had to leave. When Usher was just getting his start in the music industry, Puff Daddy was his legal guardian because he produced the singer's self-titled 1994 debut album. Usher has often explained that during his time under Puffy's wing, he was exposed to a lot. In 2004, during the era of Usher's Confessions album, he said in a Rolling Stone interview that Puffy introduced him to a totally different set of stuff. He mentioned how intercourse is so hot in the industry, man. I remember that in Puffy's home, there was always girls around. You'd open a door and see somebody doing it, or several people in a room doing it. You never knew what was gonna happen. I don't know, folks, the events that Usher described sound kinda similar to these freak-offs, which are at the center of a lot of lawsuits right now. During his 35th birthday celebration in 2013, Usher spoke about his time with Puff Daddy, who was allegedly in attendance at the celebration. In a speech, Usher described the I'll Be Missing You rappers' parties, saying, "I was introduced to everything by Puff Daddy when I was under his guidance. Parties, women, coitus, and substances. I've had a taste of it, but I'd never let it take me over." Usher continued, saying that he wouldn't pass on any of the advice that he was given. In 2016, during an interview with Howard Stern, Usher once again recalled some of these parties, which were often nicknamed Puffy Flavor Camp, and he said there were very curious things taking place at the parties. And when asked if he'd ever send anybody to Puffy Flavor Camp, he responded with a hell no. He hasn't said much else about this time period in recent memory, nor has he publicly addressed all the charges and lawsuits. However, in September of 2024, Vance noticed that Usher had scrubbed his Twitter profile of every single post. He claimed he was hacked, but what was he hiding? Come on, fangirls. You know what to do. Nearly 2 weeks before Puff Daddy was even arrested, actor and comedian Marlon Wayans admitted that he'd attended plenty of parties hosted by the rapper, but he wasn't privy to any nefarious activities that had been reported in previous legal documents. He said he'd always leave the gatherings early, but a lot of folks on social media are kinda doubting his words. One person responded directly to a post that Marlon made on Twitter back in 2009 where he spoke highly of these parties. Said, "Been doing Puffy parties for 15 years, and I must say you never let me down, Puff. Ain't no party like a Puffy party," which you're gonna hear that a lot today. So a lot of folks were saying like, so you say you left these parties early. I call BS. The truth shall set you free. Well, just last week, Marlon doubled down on his original remarks about leaving the parties early. He shared these on the Club Shay Shay podcast and said, "Yep, and I still stand by that. I've never seen or been a part of nothing but good vibes and energy with clothes on." So yeah, I'm not rushing to take down old tweets or anything. I ain't got to hide, period. I have been to plenty of Puffy parties. He said, "I left early. I swear to you. I've never seen it. Those aren't the type of parties I go to. I don't frequent those type of parties. And even if I go, like, I'd never seen any of this." When I heard about it, I was like, when did that happen? At what time did this go down? Because I was there until 3:30. You mean at 3:32? So they waited for me to leave? Like, alright, good that Wayans gone. He talked too much? So he did admit that he's seen substances at parties, but he was unfamiliar with all other reports. He said, "I watch how I conduct myself because I'm not doing this just for me. I have to answer to God, I have to answer to my brothers, I have to answer to my legacy. I can't act a certain way. I have to answer to people who want to be like me. There's a lot for me to answer to. I owe it to my fans to walk through this life and be an example, as best I can." Okay, but like, if you were there that late, Damon Dash said, "I didn't go to those parties back in September when photos resurfaced of him at a Puffy party with Jay-Z and J-Lo." He said, "Yeah, I went to one in the Hamptons about 20 years ago with Aaliyah, and that's about it." But a lot of people were at those, you know what I mean? And he said, nothing happened in the Hamptons. He said that was the day he met Aaliyah. We hung out there and then we left, and then that's what happened. That was 20 years ago. It was not in LA or Miami. And he said, "I know everybody's gonna play games with those photos. It's all good. I don't really care." So Dash dated Aaliyah from the year 2000 until her passing, so okay. Incredible timeline. Cat Williams said they've had to turn down $50 million 4 times just to protect his integrity, and that certain hole they were telling you about. So this was during another interview on the Club Shay Shay podcast, which, okay, interesting. He said, because Puffy be wanting to party and you gotta tell him no. You gotta tell him no. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely. At the time, he also teased that more celebrity scandals would soon come to light, adding, it's up for all of them. It don't matter if it's Puffy or whoever you is. So who else? Why don't you bring something to light, my dude? Jenny Mullen claimed in a September 2024 Instagram video that she had turned down an invitation to one of Puff's parties. She said, one time when I was in San Diego and this guy came over and he's like, my boss wants to meet you. She had on like a regular button-up shirt, jeans, like nothing really like promiscuous or giving any kind of fun ideas. But she said, and I quote, this guy's like, my boss wants to meet you. And he's like this big bouncer looking man in a fur coat. And he said, we're having a party in my room. Do you guys want to come? And she's like, oh my god, guys, would I have been in a freak off? Like, that's what I'm reading. It's called a freak off. Would I have been captured in his room in my hideous maroon shirt? Would there be footage to this day of me in some sort of crazy exploitative freak off? Slow down. Possibly. Don't think you would have been in that shirt, but okay. According to former music industry insider Tom Swoop, who has recounted many of his memories of surviving these white parties on his YouTube channel, first off in my opinion, Storytime, these parties were separated into tiers of access. So there was general admission, and then we got all these tiers, ending with the entrance to the inner sanctum, where the real partying went on. This allegedly included humiliating guests on the promise of record deals or money. Swoop and a lot of others have spoken about substances that were present. We talked about that already today. So things that make you see things, no snow. Anything that can be considered booger sugar was there. As an industry insider when he first attended these parties, Swoop described an eye-popping regality. Look, these parties were allegedly a way to integrate hip-hop into society of the mega-rich, to find an intersection of both worlds. Puffy said he wanted to strip away everyone's image and put everybody in the same color and on the same level. And Swoop recalled it as more of a power trip for the rapper. So at one point, finding himself in the same room as Puffy, Swoop alleged that Puffy told a young artist to perform a kind of act on his bodyguard in return for $100,000 and a record deal, before claiming it was a joke when the young man was on the cusp of submitting. Swoop recalled Puffy wielding his power with words that echo the threat contained in allegations in the lengthy criminal complaints that were recently unsealed. Swoop claimed that Puffy told him, I can make anybody do anything because this life is what they want and I got the keys to the castle. Swoop said he left the party thinking, if this is what goes on behind the curtain and you're all comfortable with this, nah, I don't want this in my life. He said there were so many celebrities who were cool with who he was and what he did to entertain them. It's not isolated. You all need to think of everybody when you think of him and the access and the amount of people that were there.
We all know that Jennifer Lopez used to date Diddy, but now her ex-husband is claiming that J-Lo attended Diddy's parties and actually knew what was going on. Ohani Noah, J-Lo's first husband, took to social media to distance himself from any connection to Diddy's freak-off parties, but claimed that J-Lo was one of multiple celebrities present at them. While we do know that J-Lo has been to Diddy parties as there's photographic evidence, there has been nothing official put out about her involvement in freak-offs. Now, in a post on Instagram, Noah shared a list of stars who have allegedly attended Diddy's parties, one being J-Lo. I'm not on the list, he captioned the post. To those people and media outlets asking if I ever went or participated in that piece of Diddy's freak-off parties, no and no. Never. But my ex-wife, Jennifer Lopez, aka J-Lo, did. Ask her. Noah, who married J-Lo in February 1997, before the couple divorced less than a year later, blames their split on Diddy's working relationship with J-Lo. Now, that relationship was created during the making of J-Lo's debut album On the Six, and it later became romantic, with Diddy and J-Lo dating between 1999 and 2001 before calling it quits. She went from Jen to being J-Lo, this big business bringing in millions, Noah once told Daily Mail of the shift of their relationship. She had all these new people around her, all wanting to make money off of her. I would call and an assistant would say, sorry, she's not available. Now, this isn't the first time her ex-husband has called her out. Despite the fact that they were only married for 9 months, Noah has been trying to slander his former flame to keep his name in the news by any means possible. In 2006, he set out to publish a tell-all book dubbed The Unknown Truth, a passionate portrait of a serial thriller, which Jennifer stopped with a lawsuit, claiming that her ex was breaking their confidentiality agreement. She was then awarded $545,000 in damages, and Noah was slapped with a court order, which forbade him from criticizing, casting in a negative light, or otherwise disparaging Jennifer. Then just 3 years later, he made headlines again when he threatened to release videos taped during the pair's honeymoon, showing the pop star in a revealing lack of clothing and in certain situations, especially in the hotel room. And this caused her to file a $10 million lawsuit against him. Meanwhile, during a 2016 appearance on Million Dollar Matchmaker, he dumped blame on his former wife, saying that she caused their split, and claimed, "I was looking forward to being with her for the rest of my life. It didn't happen. She made the choice of her career instead of me." Now, after Jennifer tied the knot with Ben Affleck in July 2022, Noah publicly spoke out about her marriage. "I wish her and Ben the best, but I'm not convinced it will last," he told the Daily Mail that month. "Jen loves being in love, but she's been engaged 6 times. Ben is husband number 4. I was husband number 1, and she told me I was the love of her life." Now, it seems like in the end that he was right. Other stars have also called out JLo for her ties to Diddy as well. Elon Musk was speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience when he began talking about JLo's criticism of the recently elected president and his remarks about Puerto Ricans. He said JLo was like his ex-girlfriend, and now all of a sudden she's warning people about Trump. How many people did she warn about Diddy? Oh, 0. Maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion, he said. He added, "People in the music industry had to know that Diddy was doing all those things. Where's the accountability? They had to know." Suge Knight also believes that JLo's and Ben's marriage fell apart because Homeland Security informed him that she was on the tapes that they found at Diddy's. "It's a white man who got respect in the white world," Knight said on his podcast Collect Calls. "I'm quite sure they said, we want to show you some things about your wife. I'm quite sure they headed for divorce because that's a man who had a good life. Great parents, don't spend a lot of money, ain't tripping off paparazzi, he's living his life. He got his own team, she done brought all that extra out, and now that mother effer he want out." Now, on the other hand though, Thea DeSouza, who worked with JLo on the 2002 film Made in Manhattan, posted a statement on Threads recently that defended the star and said that she had no involvement with any of this. "If you knew Jennifer Lopez, if you ever worked with her like I did, or if you're close with people who are like family to her like I am, you would know she did not have any idea about Diddy. She barely drinks, she's not a partier, she isn't a good time girl, she's a workaholic who uplifts women and who was charmed by him for a brief time in her life." Now, she emphasized that JLo does not deserve to be conflated with Diddy's shocking and criminal misdeeds. Now, JLo was recently spotted out in public interacting with fans when a paparazzi asked her, "JLo, do you have any comments about P. Diddy and the allegations?" Now, immediately JLo stopped taking photos and giving autographs and left. Many people begged her not to leave, but she didn't listen. She wanted nothing to do with answering that question or being associated with Diddy. Now, with Diddy's recent arrest, people have been speculating on his time with JLo. An anonymous source said he was very controlling, he would constantly put her in uncomfortable situations. "This is a good girl from the Bronx who never got into trouble or was wild." The source also said he never hurt JLo, but she had her longtime manager, Benny Medina, to protect her. Benny would have ended Puffy's life if he laid a finger on JLo. But still, Puffy was controlling and demanding. Now, there's been a conflicting report though, as another source who knew the couple at the time said he definitely manhandled her, but it's a little low to bring all this up now. It's kicking a man when he's down. Then there was the nightclub situation. In 1999, Diddy was arrested following an incident that happened at a nightclub in New York. That night, Diddy was with his bodyguard Anthony Wolf, rapper Jamal Barrows, and Jennifer. As reported by Forbes, the incident started with a disagreement and ended with 3 different people becoming injured. After the incident, Diddy, JLo, and Jamal left the scene, but the 3 were involved in a police car chase. It was then reported that JLo threw evidence out of the car. According to the Washington Post, police found a stolen weapon in the car, and both Diddy and J-Lo were arrested and initially charged with criminal possession of stolen property. The charges against J-Lo were dropped overnight, but Diddy and Jamal went to trial. Diddy faced additional charges of bribery as he had allegedly offered the driver of the car $50,000 to say the weapon was his. Diddy was acquitted of all charges, and Jamal was charged with 5 offenses, but nobody was ever charged and found guilty of the actual incident. But recently, one of Diddy's accusers, Rodney Jones, who filed a lawsuit against the star, claimed that Diddy was responsible for the incident in the nightclub in New York and alleged that Diddy bragged about using J-Lo to smuggle the weapon into the club. He shared that the artist and his girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, carried the weapon into the club for him, passed it to him after he got into an altercation with another individual, Jones is alleged in the lawsuit. All I can say about this is yikes. Now, Diddy has denied the accusations, but again, J-Lo has remained silent. Is there more to this story that J-Lo is letting on? And if she could lie about that, then has she really been involved with the crimes happening at Diddy's parties? There's so much speculation right now, but it seems like we won't get an answer about it unless J-Lo is called on to testify at Diddy's trial, which is currently set for May 5th, 2025.